Good morning. On the 8th of November, I thought I'd pop in and do a quick video, and I don't know what the video will be about or why I'm being asked to pop in and do the video. All I know is there are times when it feels like we have something to share, and in order to maintain that balance within us, it is really important to share when we feel like it, without attachment to the outcome. So for those that don't know me, my name is Kirsty Dignam. I haven't been around for a while. I've actually taken a step back over the last few months. Something that I've fought for some time, actually. My ego has tried to find reason and purpose for me to continue doing the things that I was doing, and that didn't feel right. And it came to a culmination about 10 weeks ago, where I was encouraged quite sternly to take a good hard look at myself and what was going on, and the very messages that I was repeating either on camera or within my life. And you know, when we talk about the void, when we talk about going within, when we talk about connecting to our intuition, it can be very difficult in everyday life, or at least we can believe it can be very difficult, that there are things that we need to continue doing, and you know, what would happen if we stopped doing all these aspects, until there comes a point where you know that the only way to get the answers that you seek are actually to do something different. I think it was Einstein that said the definition of insanity was doing the same things over and over and over and expecting a different outcome. And that's where I've been the last 8 weeks or so, really looking at what outcome it was I actually wanted with my life and what steps I was taking that were different to achieve that. And that took me stepping back. I'm also noticing I'm back to my roots, quite literally back to my original colour hair, and I've just been to the opticians. And I need glasses, and I need glasses for anything that I do for a long time. What it basically means is I have a stigma, a very slight stigma in my eyes, and there's mental strain there. Being the way that I am, obviously I would delve deeper into the meanings behind that, and very much so the shape of my eye has changed from being round to slightly egg-shaped. And spiritually, that can be from mental strain, emotional strain, from how we see things. And I found it very relevant that I need the glasses for things that I do for a long time. Changing my perspective of the things that I've done for some time, or things that I'm to continue doing for some time, really looking at the view behind that. And as I say, going back to my roots. So big changes the last 8 weeks or so, but what that required was for me to actually physically stop fighting the guidance and step back. A lot of us talk about connecting to our intuition, and a lot of us talk about the void and that deep going within. And we do on the level that we can at that time, but we're always growing, and there's always more need for reflective practice, evidence-based practice. So what happens when we reflect? What happens when we step back from a situation? I'm actually going to do it now because I'm noticing, wearing the glasses, the reflection of the screen is very much in my eyes, and I can't see my eyes. Now that feels really quite important, to be able to see my own perspective. What happens when we take a step back, when we really reflect on where we've been, where we're at, and where we want to go? It can feel as if it's a wasted opportunity. It can feel as if it takes time and it's not constructive. But when we take a step back and we do look at all these aspects, we have evidence-based research. We really look at what's going on. We really look at what's worked and what hasn't worked in comparison to where we've been and where we want to go. So there feels like an underlying message with that leading into next year. I went into the vibration of the number 6, which is the vibration next year collectively, in July with my own birthday. And numerologically, I'm actually a number 6. So this is quite familiar energy to me, or at least I thought it was familiar energy. Choices, the lover, the devil, the things that hold us back from expressing our light. There's always something to learn from. There's always a way of growing. There's always another perspective to things. So since July, emphasis for next year has been starting to come through, and there are some massive entanglements in relation to sexuality. I've noticed in the news there's a very rare STI coming to the forefront that is obtaining more and more cases of people that are infected with this. And the other night myself, I actually dreamt that women were losing their womb because of viruses. And next year we do have the lovers and we do have the devil. So we are talking about taboo aspects in regards to sexuality coming up. And this is a journey that I've been going through myself, for those that have seen recent or videos from earlier on. A discovery into my own sexuality, because what do we do when we discover those aspects of ourselves? We're really connecting to the more innate animalistic energy within us. So that's definitely going to be coming up next year. Yes, obviously with the climate change discussions that have been occurring, that's going to be very prevalent into next year, because we have the Lovers card again, and we're talking Eden. We're talking looking after the very earth that we walk on. Now, this has always been important, but definitely in the next few months, individually and collectively, we're going to really see an emphasis on our place here in the earth and the choices that we make based on how we see things and based on what is being reflected back to us. So back to the slight stigma in my eye. This can come from overstraining, and mine in particular is distant vision, not close up. Sorry, the other way around, close up, not distant, but close up. And for me, that's really quite poignant, because it's like I can see where I want to go, and it's about bringing it back now to look at where we are. Really, really important next year. When we look at the devil energy, we look at the sheer fact that it is everything that's holding us back that actually shows us who we are. And we can only do that if we are present in this current situation. Now that can be really, really uncomfortable, and it can mean taking time out from what's going on, taking that step back and just pausing, breathing, feeling whatever is going on for you, because the answers lie in that. We are our own medicine, but we need to realise that we're sick, in whatever phrase you want to look at that, to begin with, in order to obtain that knowledge, that medicine, that wisdom. As humans, we have a wonderful ability to keep running, to keep moving, to keep going, and that is powerful. It's very, very constructive. Without the pauses in between, if you imagine our life being, a tapping noise, without that pause in between, it would just be one long line of noise. Sometimes the pauses in between allow us to hear the sound that is actually occurring. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is look at the cards for the energy of, I was going to say this week, but I don't know. We'll see. It feels like it's the energy of now. That's, yeah, of course. My eyes were drawn to, before this video, my eyes were drawn to some books on my bookshelf, and they were The Energy of Now and To Be Soul, Do Soul. Really, 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 really important to know that the choices and decisions we make based on now will affect our future anyway. So, we can run ahead, try and think about the future. But if we stop and we come to now and really see what's going on here, any decisions we make based on now will be stronger and more solid in foundation. If we're running ahead to make those decisions, there's a chance it's because we don't like what's occurring now, which is fantastic. Of course, there's room for change, but that still comes from a judgmental place. In order to be the observer of your own manifestations, you need to know what's going on presently in all of its discomfort. Okay, so energy of now. Right, and we'll do a medicine wheel. Right. A don't have much space on my desk, so let me just move that camera back. Okay. So, classic human example, even though we're speaking about the now, even though we're talking about not rushing forward with the changes, to do a reading in this present moment in that energy, it all speaks of change. So that's really reiterating what I was saying. By being in the now, by acknowledging something, it begins to shift. Okay, so with the human body, you experience pain. Once you experience pain, those messages will go to all the parts of your body that are needed to help release those endorphins, those serotonins, those natural painkillers. But it is only by experiencing the pain that that will actually happen. It is only by actually acknowledging, accepting, not agreeing, accepting and experiencing what is occurring at the moment that the answers needed will come in. That doesn't come from a place of, I don't want to be here, I want to be there, I'd rather be there. By all means, go and see the expanded vision, come back and start to put it into place in the everyday life. Or realise that what you're doing every day is heading you towards the expanded vision. Sometimes we can see the bigger vision and believe that there are things that we have to do in order to get there. We can just be being shown the bigger vision as a knowing that this is going to occur. Keep turning up, keep doing what you're doing if it works for you, and if not, change that. The emphasis is, how aligned are you with the bigger vision? Not everybody else, not what is going on around you. How aligned are you with the bigger vision, and what do you need to change for you in regards to that? So we can get an insight, we can get a creative idea come in, and you know, it could start off, oh, I'd like to open a shop, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that. What then happens is we step into training for that. So we'd like to open a shop, we've never opened a shop before, we need to look into that. We need to look into business, we need to address our own issues, concerns, repetitive patterns around business, you know. And what happens is that one small idea from our soul starts to put into place those changes. They don't need to be pushed, they're going to occur anyway. What matters is we recognise them as they occur, which we cannot do by jumping forward, we can only do in the moment. So in the reading, smack bam in the centre, we have the Hanged Man. Now I'm not surprised to see that card at all. So in the middle of the medicine wheel, when I do the medicine wheel, it is the soul aspect, what is actually occurring on a soul level. So this is individually and collectively, and it's the Hanged Man. It is about seeing things from that different perspective, from that different angle, including our own vision, including our own perspectives, seeing them from different angles as well, seeing ourselves from a different angle. So in this deck in particular, I can't remember who it's by, Melanie Marquis, and it's the Spellcaster's Tarot. In this particular deck, the Hanged Man isn't actually hanging upside down. He's upright, but he's imprisoned. Okay, so he can't see where he's going. He can't move forward, or at least he feels like he can't move forward. What better time than to stop? If you're uncertain of what is occurring right now, if you're uncertain of the truths around you right now, then stop. If something doesn't resonate with you, this video included, stop. Yeah, sometimes we really attract the energy that we're looking for in the fact that we can feel very confused. So we ask for answers and what we get is confusion back. Classic here. So really going back to looking at your own perspective of your own views here, really looking at your own energy. Is it in alignment with what you're trying to achieve? Simple as that. There was something I was going to say and it's completely gone out of my mind, so it may come back, it may not. We'll see. what I really see on this card is the darkness on one side and the light on the other. And on this card in particular, they're blue and yellow, very royal colours, thinking joy for the yellow and blue for communication, or thinking Archangel Michael, protection, that kind of energy. And that's what I was actually going to say. When we look at our own energy, when we realise there may be areas that need to be lifted, which only come from realising that they're not that high in the first place. You know, we only realise that we need to lift our vibration by acknowledging that it's low. Light and dark together, okay? Not ignoring the low, realising it, feeling it, acknowledging it, going into it, in order to shift our vibration back up. We become sovereign, we become very royal. These are very royal colours. We become able to speak of joy, but not surface joy. Real, I have nothing against surface joy at all, but real soul level joy. Not, I'm happy, everything's positive, everything's wonderful. This has been hard, but I've got through it because of this, this and this. That's when we really discover the bigger vision of ourselves. By acknowledging what is going on, the darkness within us, the shadow within us. You know, it could be shame, guilt, embarrassment, depression, whatever we want to label that. But by acknowledging that rage, I hear rage, there's an awful lot of rage going on at the moment, but by acknowledging that within us, we start to see the treasure and the light that can come from that as well. Trying to think of an example. I experienced fibromyalgia, and for a long time my fibromyalgia was as a result of burnout. So I acknowledged that, and I did the opposite and totally rested, relaxed my body, didn't let it do too much, kind of over mothered my body. And the opposite happened. It was holding back that fiery energy that inflamed my fibromyalgia, which caused rage within my body. Myself holding myself back caused that rage within my body. So now for me it's about getting that balance. It's about acknowledging that I call it rage or anger, but it's a fiery energy. And when that fiery energy comes up, it is time to do. And when it isn't, it is time not to. So really knowing your own season here and seeing it from a different perspective, a higher perspective. If you're feeling like you're unable to move forward or see how you can move forward, maybe there's things in the now that need to be addressed first in order not to take them forward with you. And that's collectively as well. So in the north, in the space of the unknown, we have death. You see that card. So what I really like about this card is right behind death, right under the moon, is a cauldron. Okay, so it's kind of saying, we don't want that. The mask is off. Can you see this little character down here? His face has been taken off. The mask is off. All that's left is our demons now, our shadow aspect. And death is embracing them because it knows in order for there to be change, this had to happen. And in the background, there is a cauldron there. There is an opportunity to start creating magic. The moon is full. The time is ripe. Once we've taken off that mask, once there's nothing left of the old us, once we truly acknowledge that, and we let go of anything that doesn't serve us. Now, it is in the space of the unknown. So for many of us, we can feel like we've done the work, you know. Oh gosh, if I had £1 for every bit of work that I'd done on myself this year, I'd be on holiday, definitely. But for many of us, we can feel as if we've done the work. But this is in the space of the unknown, and it's in the space of the ancestors. And underneath this cauldron here, I don't know if you can see, are many, many skulls. Many of those that have been before us. One, there may very well be changes that we're not aware of that need to occur. There may be things that we've been carrying that we don't know are actually ours. And this could very well be linked to ancestral lineage here. But the other thing I do notice is that death is actually facing towards even though it's in the space of the north, it's facing towards the west, which is Jaguar, Otorongo, also the space of death, death of the ego. And in that space is the wheel. So it's almost as if death is now, when we see from this perspective, when we change our view, it's almost as if death is now saying to that shadow aspect, it's time to come up now. You've done a lot of changes and it's time to move forward now. Because when this lays down, death is actually facing and moving forward. Well, yeah, fair enough. No, death is facing the wheel of fortune, but the position of moving backwards. So it does feel a bit topsy-turvy, a bit of going back to where we were, to move forward and to be here. And that's the key over the next few weeks. Okay, over the next few weeks, it is going to be backwards, forwards. Hold space, be present. Let these things just occur around you and within you, and just be aware of them. That's all that feels it's needed the next few weeks in particular. There can be the temptation to overthink it. Yeah, thank you. Overthink it, because it's pretty mental energy, hence the mental strain. It's pretty mental energy, and a lot of the mental strain behind stigmas in the eye can also be emotional strain. And like I said just now, I really feel like I've done the work, and I bet I'm not the only person that feels that. So maybe by not overthinking, the emotions can just have chance to rest, and the change will happen anyway. Now I see death as our own physical body, and us realising in the space of the unknown that we are transmuters of energy, that we are life, and that we are death, and that things can change by being present in that power that we all have to say enough is enough. I'm going to stop. I'm going to be with this now. I'm not going to force this. It doesn't need anything else. A change is going to happen. Very much feels about the faith in change. Coming up over the next few weeks, I can really feel that in my liver, in the solar plexus and the seat of the soul. Really, really feel that. And about having the faith that this too will pass, whatever it is that's occurring for you, and that sometimes less is more. So that brings me, actually, just as I feel it in my liver, onto the space of the east. And the east is the bigger perspective here, but it's also the place of the sun and the fire, that new dawn. And in that space is the 6 of Wands. So I'm not surprised, because I really felt a bolt upright energy in my solar plexus. And the 6 of Wands speaks of victory. What I really see here is that the victory almost has to come from within. Yeah, it almost has to come from within. You have all these characters underneath that are like, oh, you're victorious, you've done this, you've done that, well done, it's all been brought together. There can be a risk here of seeing victory through the eyes of somebody else, seeing abundance through the eyes of somebody else, seeing our purpose through the eyes of somebody else. The ego, very much, yes, it's very nice to hear compliments, and very nice to be, I hear the word worshipped, very nice to be acknowledged. But ultimately that acknowledgement needs to come from yourself. Otherwise you're never going to believe that you've changed. You're never going to believe that you can do what it is you're trying to do, because it has to come from here. It has to come from you. So my eyes are drawn to a book by Alberto Villoldo, Illumination and Lift Up Your Heart, by Silver Birch. And that's what feels really important in order to see the bigger vision here. Not to feed from others' approval. That feels really strong. Not to feed from others' approval. It isn't enough to sustain us anymore as we go into the year of the 6 next year. That reflective image isn't going to be enough, and it's going to cause quite a few entanglements. Not to feed from others' approval now, but to recognise your own self-sustenance. So as we move into the space of the south, the serpent, the kundalini, our connection to earth, I'm not surprised to see the Empress there. And it's Taurus, so from now until May, I would definitely suggest from now until May, the changes that need to take place are physical, very much physical, very much to do with love for the earth, love for our connection here, love for ourselves as caretakers. I was going to say mother, but it's changed. The mother wound aspect has changed. It's more united now. It feels more caretaker. It was never about gender anyway. But when I would mention the mother wound beforehand or any mothering type energy, it would definitely have more feminine, what we call feminine connotations. Even that gives me a knee-jerk reaction, but more feminine connotations such as nurture and love and creativity and reflection and intuition and going within. That from now until May is going to change, and it feels very much about being the caretaker. We can only take care of other people, the earth, anything, as well as what we can take care of ourselves. So when I took time back the last few months, I found every excuse in the book, but what was underneath it all was I didn't think I was worthy enough, valuable enough to need this time out. Okay, so that was the big turning point for me, to acknowledge, one, trust that you're going to be okay, that whatever guidance it is you are getting about self-care or whatever, it may not fit in with your plans. Your plans, it may not fit in with them, and there may be concerns about finances or connections, or will people still watch me, will people still wonder how I am, or will the world keep spinning? With the Empress card here, yes, of course it will. What's important is to acknowledge the bigger reason underneath, and that will be a lack of trust. Will my needs be met? And that will come back to self-worth. Okay, so that will always come back to, I can't take time off, people need me. I can't do X, Y, and Z because I won't get enough money. And yes, these are physical concerns, of course they are, but from experience, slow down because it's coming through a bit quick. From experience, if what needs to be acknowledged isn't acknowledged, there's a high chance you'll be off work longer. There's a high chance you will burn yourself out or be quite resentful to those that are taking your energy, knowing or unknowing, because you have nothing left to give. So if we really want to be the caretakers of the vision that we are bringing in the future, it starts with us, always. Leading into next year, a lot of roles are going to be developed, enhanced, advanced. That's the word I want to say, advanced. A lot of what we are doing will be very much the same, but on a much bigger level towards the visions that we've been seeing. But they cannot occur if we haven't done the work ourselves. Part of taking time back in the last few months was I do my own spiritual practice once a day, twice a day, sometimes more. I share and I help as much as I can, and I'm always doing collective rituals and ceremonies. I don't eat meat. There's no judgment against those that do. I don't eat fatty food. I don't eat eggs, and that's, well, it never was because of choice. It was my human body couldn't cope with these energies anymore. The same as alcohol, which was a real not happy moment for me, but my body couldn't cope with these vibrations anymore in order to keep doing what it was here to do as part of the bigger vision. And there came a time where I had to acknowledge that, kicking and screaming. These last few months, that has gone further, and very much, the gluten has been removed from my diet, the dairy has been removed from my diet. I'm not saying everybody has to do this, far from it, but what I'm saying is those few months that I took a step back, I realised in order to get to that next step, there were changes that need to happen, or it was never going to occur, or it would have occurred at a level that I couldn't actually physically contain as a vessel. We can have all the dreams in the world, and we can have all the doors of potential, but if we're not physically ready to achieve them, they either aren't going to be what we expected or hoped for, or they're not going to happen. And it's really from now until May digging in your heels, being that stubborn Taurus. Sorry, Taurus people out there, it's a bit stereotypical, but being really grounded in your vision of what you're trying to bring forward and the changes that need to occur, and being the caretaker for that. Will it ruffle feathers? Yes, of course it will. None more so than your own. But if we really want to take that Eden image, you know, what heaven is to us, into next year, only we hold the key. Only we can do the work. Only we can make those changes. I don't know if you can see that card. You can see that she is actually looking back, but she's also ready to move forward. Okay, so bearing that in mind as well from now until May. Whatever we're looking back towards, is it giving us insight to move forward? Is it helping us release the chains, or is it adding to it? When I say about I feel like I've done the work, yes, because I have a huge degree of OCD. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything has to be done perfect. You come to me for a crystal healing and that it will be symmetrical on your body. I like things to channel and to flow in a clear, direct way. There are shadow aspects to all of us, and one of my shadow aspects is I can stay in that energy. You know, I can stay and I think, no, it's not quite perfect yet, it's not quite ready yet. And what that does, rather than help me move forward when out of balance, the key is out of balance. It's not to say get rid of that, because that has ensured the things I have done, I've done to the best of my ability. But it needs to be in balance. All things need to be in balance. If we're looking back to the point it stops us from moving forward, and we're finding that we're repeating the same things over and over and over, hanged man. Pause, stop. Do I need to gain anything else from this? Or am I just picking meat off of a already fossilized bone? Place that underneath the cauldron like death does. Start bringing in new stuff now. Use that as firewood by all means, but don't. It's not going to be enough to create the magic that you're trying to create. It's not going to be enough to feed your soul anymore, because you've learned from it. There can be real trepidation taking that next leap. You know, the last part of learning a lesson is to take that forward into life and to apply that to life and to let go of the need to learn from it, to feel ready. And the truth of the matter is we never feel 100% ready, quite rightfully so, because the rest of that teaching comes from doing. So it is perfect as it is. Very much like this video this morning. I'm sharing because I feel I have something to share. That will reach whoever it needs to reach. It may very well just be myself, but that's a start. That's how the wheel starts to turn. And what we have in the space of the West, of Otorongo, of Jaguar, of walking the knife's edge between this world and the next, the shadow aspect, is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, and I love this card because I love that the monkey on the top, which would be the space of the north, is blindfolded. Silence in that monkey mind. Okay, really, really just, okay, I acknowledge that, but giving it some silence here. Is there anything else? That feels very poignant. At the point of change, how much change do we actually stop by saying, is there anything else? Do I need to know more? Should I hang on? Maybe there'll be another sign. Maybe this, maybe, or just go and do what it is you need to do. Be that going within or moving forward, whatever is right for you. Joy, joy, joy. I want to sing joy to the world. From now until Christmas, very, very, very relevant. I mean, personally, I think always in life there needs to be an aspect of joy. But from now until Christmas, overall we have the Sun card. The next 2 weeks, it's actually up until beginning of December. For the next few weeks we have the Sun card, and very much joy. Everything you do, as much as possible. I hear why as much as possible. I say as much as possible because I'm trying to be realistic, and then I hear, well, this is realistic. find the joy. It's there. It's there in everything that you do, but find it, dig deep from it, weave with it. That light that you are, that light that you bring, anything, even if it's 10 minutes a day, just to really focus on something that you enjoy doing. No, of course, you are the joy in everything that you do, but it's about finding that light within you to apply it to everything now. Then you'll see the changes. Then you'll see the shifts. Then you will feel how aligned you are becoming to that bigger vision that you had for yourself. Is there anything else for that? I love the fact here that one child is on the earth playing and the other child is held in the mother's lap while she weaves. And that just feels like a beautiful message in itself, to know that we are held by the mother, by the earth, in all that we create. And that we are here to play upon her belly. We are here to play upon the earth. We are here to bring joy. And on this card there's a ship in the background and it's being hit by, I don't know if you can see that. It's the other way. You can't see the lightning, but there's a ship in the background and it's actually being hit by lightning. And there are always moments, aren't there? There are always tower moments, that lightning bolt, that, oh, this has happened and now I don't know what to do. And it's about trusting that you're held and about bringing the joy into each one of those situations. And I did notice that my words were, it's the other way. It's the other way. That feels really emotional. That feels really quite true to the heart space. These changes occur not when we're on the wrong path. Personally, I don't think there's anything as right or wrong. It's all an opportunity to learn and to grow. But these changes occur when we're not setting sail towards that bigger vision. And they might not be comfortable and they might be heartbreaking and throw everything that you thought you knew out the window. But that's death. That's the ending necessary for the change to occur, to bring that victory, to bring that creation, that Emperor's card that you're trying to create, to help you weave the light that we all speak of. So, I did pull one more card and it's Justice. Absolutely beautiful for the 11th month. I hear the 11th month, the 11th hour. It feels like, that moment to bring this whole, not even year, it feels like 11 years. If we're going to do the 11, let's do the 11. It feels like the last 11 years to bring them all together now in the next few weeks with balance, knowing that that wheel of fortune is above us. This is on a soul level, this change for us that is occurring. It may not feel like it, but it really is for the highest, greatest good on this level. And it is key now to have balance. Yeah, it is key to know that, like the High Priestess, Justice, her sister, has gone down to the underworld and she's come back up. Yeah, she's got that pomegranate in her hand. She will never be the same again. You can see that half of her skin is missing from her hand. She has faced death. She has faced change, like we all have over these last few years, if not the last 11 years. Real change has occurred and we have faced it and we have survived it. Question is now, do we thrive from it? How? Balance. Keeping the change right above in our soul chakra, in our very essence, that is what we are working towards, and sticking to it, staying focused. If we're not sure, if we feel as if nothing is changing, stopping, because that's all we're taking forward, is this nothing is changing energy. Stop, pause, be like the Hanged Man. If you feel as if you're coming up against resistance, wait, really look at what is going on. Really look at the screen that is being reflected back to you. Really check whether you have any spiritual stigma in your own vision. Yeah, has the light become curved, refracted? Has it changed for you? Are you under mental strain, emotional strain? Really stop, pause, look, be in that underworld space of the void, of not knowing, of not moving forward for however long it takes. And for some it will be a moment, for others it could be months. But keeping that balance, knowing that you've done it before, you can do this, you've got strength to hold space for this. It's important in order to truly move forward differently next year. We're all going to move forward one way or another. The wheel will keep changing, but do we want to change that direction? Do we want to steer ourselves like the boat away from all of the stuff that isn't working for us, or do we want to keep going round and round and round? It's entirely up to us. We cannot, thank you, or a nice way to close it, we cannot expect different results from doing the same thing over and over and over again. By definition, that's just crazy. Take care, and I'll see you whenever I see you. Take care.